Hi everyone. Welcome to the Spotlight Session 3. So, today's theme is something that is incredibly relevant to all of us. That is how AI is reshaping completely different fields, from molecules in a lab to the content in your Instagram feed. So, today we have two amazing speakers, Akshita Garg and Abheek Soni, who will be presenting their research papers. So let's start with Akshita. Akshita, are you there? Okay.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Akshita Garg. I am a chemistry student at Delhi University. I usually wear lab coats surrounded by beakers and smell of reagents. And I'm also a data science student, diving into logic of tensors and neural networks. Today, I'm here to explore about what that chemistry and data science are two different worlds. But what if we mix them? So, we are currently witnessing a massive shift in how scientific discovery happens. Traditionally, chemistry and data science were seen as two separate silos, one focusing on physical matter and the other on digital logic. However, the most exciting breakthroughs of this decade are happening right at the boundary where the two meet. For a long time, as a student myself, I felt like I'm living two different lives. But as I progressed, I feel there is something more. So I decided to search about it and found out there's really a link between these two, and that is so wonderful that I realized that the molecules need the math and the math needs the molecules. Today, I want to talk to you about bridging carbon and code, the intersection where molecules meet algorithms, and I want to show you how we use digital intelligence to find the magic molecules of the future. Now, the first question which into our mind is that why do we really need a bridge? So, let us understand with an analogy. Imagine we are standing at the base of a mountain Everest, and the entire mountain is made up of hay. Somewhere inside the mountain is a single tiny needle. That needle might be a life-saving drug, or might be a new plastic that dissolves in the ocean, or might be just a battery which is better for our phones. In chemistry, if I just tell you we have 10 raised to power 60 different molecules we could possibly make. That number is so massive it's hard to wrap our hands around. If you synthesize one molecule every second, the universe will end before you finish the list. So we can imagine the intensity and the largeness of these molecules. As a chemistry student, I spend hours in the lab. I realized that if I spend all my time mixing chemicals by hand, I'm basically just picking up one piece at a time. It's frustrating and slow. We have a big data problem here, but we're still using manual tools. We don't need better hands, we need a magnetic sensor to find that needle. And that sensor is code. The first step in building this sensor is translation, a process called featureization, which you might have already studied in this data science degree. Computers do not perceive molecules or bonds; they perceive matrices and tensors. So we have to teach computer in their language only. So to bridge this gap, we represent chemical structures as mathematical graphs. In this model, atoms are treated as nodes and the chemical bonds are treated as edges. By using neural network, we can translate physical properties like atomic weight, electronegativity, and 3D geometry into digital vectors. Once a molecule is converted into code, it becomes searchable. We can screen millions of virtual candidates in a fraction of the time it would have taken to set up a single physical experiment. This allows us to move from experimenting to see what happens to calculating what should happen before we ever step into a lab. We can see we are saving nearly so much time in just making this digitally. Now we have the data. We need a system to drive discovery. This leads to another concept of the autonomous lab. Now, as we have seen, we have the map. We need a brain to drive us. Let us take an example of the self-driving car. It it doesn't just drive blindly. It sees the road, it hits a pothole, and learn to avoid it the next time. We are doing the same thing in the lab. We call this as autonomous lab. Instead of human doing every single decision, we use algorithms that like a smart GPS. In data science, we call this active learning. So we have a loop working here, which works like the first step is design. The AI proposes a molecular structure based on predicted performance. Then the molecule is synthesized either via robotics or the directed lab work. Then we have the third step of testing. The physical properties are measured and recorded. And the fourth and the final step is analyzing. The results, including the failures, are fed back into the model. So we are basically improving the model with our every experiment. So if an experiment fails, the algorithm doesn't get discouraged. It says it's move on shift shift towards the better molecule search for the next experiment. It learns from every mistake. We are using this loop to find answers with 10 times faster than human could alone. We are turning the lab into a self-evolving discovery machine. So we could see we are doing things 10 times better if we are doing with human in the loop, aided by code. Now, a common question regarding this technology is whether it is to replace the scientist or it is really helping us, or what will happen with the labor force or with the students like me who are doing chemistry honors. Which is because at the Delhi University level, there is no such provision to have code integrated with your degree. So the the most effective answer would be for this is human in the loop. This is one of the concept which encourages human to use the code. This is called argumented intelligence. This is particularly relevant in the context of research in India. You have not always need $1 million robotic arms, or we need the logic to optimize our existing resources. By applying data science to the lab, we can build software that tells a researcher exactly which 5 experiments are most statistically significant to perform today. Otherwise, we would have spent times in lab searching through the books and may finding one procedure done or not and wasting our time. This strategy is also known as frugal innovation. We use code to save carbon, reducing the waste of expensive reagents and saving years of human time. The algorithm handles the repetitive search, allowing the human scientist to focus on high level strategy and why behind the discovery. So basically, the human in the loop is basically a concept in which the human uses code as a superpower instead of the code does not overpower the human. To conclude, the bridge between carbon and code represents a fundamental shift in the scientific identity. The future of discovery belongs to the bilingual scientist, professionals who are equally comfortable in a wet lab and in a coding environment. So basically, if we say it in an easy language, we are bridging the gap between the wet lab, which is the chemistry lab, doing experiments, fighting with reagents, maybe facing failures, and with a dry lab that is coding, having errors, and so on. The era of trial and error chemistry is fading. Automation and AI will inevitably take over the repetitive, high volume task of molecular screening. However, the ability to frame the right questions and interpret the results remains a uniquely human skill. The next breakthrough might, whether it's a carbon capture, energy storage, or medicine, will not be found by human alone or by machine alone. It will be found by those who can successfully bridge the gap between the molecules and algorithms. Thank you guys for your time and exploring with me today. I'm eager to hear your suggestions and any questions.
Thank you, Akshita. That was such an amazing look at how algorithms can reshape the traditional lab research. So, I have a few questions for you before we start on with the questions from the audience. So, how accurate do you think are AI predictions compared to the traditional lab experiments?
This is a new concept of integrating AI, so definitely uh, we are starting with it. So it is not accurate as of now, but by doing repeatedly experiments, we can increase the accuracy. And in lab experiments, sometimes we don't even know if the chemical is expired or if even water, if distilled water is sometimes contaminated. So there is no such parameter for it.
So, do you think that AI can eventually replace the some stages of lab research?
Yes, surely it can replace the mathematical modeling the most because it requires the same repetitive task is, and yeah, it can replace some, but human interference is also required.
Right. And what challenges do you think people will face when they combine coding with chemistry? As you mentioned, DU doesn't have these certain kinds of facilities. So, what actual facilities are required to combine both of these?
We actually need more courses that will combine code and chemistry together. Currently, if I talk about Delhi, we have only in two colleges, that is Amity University and Jawaharlal Nehru University, JNU. So we need more awareness. We need more courses around it, and the uh, the courses which I'm talking about, they are in lakhs. So it is not affordable as well. So government should do something, I feel, to introduce some courses at the mass level so people can afford this and learn.
Right.
And
Yeah. So, as a student, uh, what skills do you think chemistry students would need to develop to stay relevant in this AI driven era?
in this AI driven era, most people are choosing for research field basically in the chemistry honors because in the lab there is such on repeated tasks. We have to wear lab coat for hours, do same calculations again and again. So if there is code, we can eliminate that step. We could have just used our skill in coding, which is 10 times faster than we do in the traditional labs.
Right. Thank you so much, Akshita. Now the floor is open for questions from the audience. If you have any questions, please raise your hands or write them in the chat box.
Hello. Hey, Akshita. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, I always had this intriguing question. I think chemistry, as every other field, evolves rapidly through each succession, and I feel bringing in AI is the next innovation that happens. But what is the impact of AR, VR, that is augmented and virtual reality in chemistry, and has it ever been integrated with AI? And let's say I always imagine, and especially with the advent of COVID, and you said, the government should promote, and resources not being there, enough chemicals not being there. Maybe we could simulate experiments with the help of AR, VR, and also maybe we never need to go to uh, chemistry lab to do basic experiments. Has this thought ever entered your mind, and has research on this being made? Have you ever explored this side?
Yes, Karthik, I've explored this thing in coronavirus where we were not allowed to go to labs. So there were AR and VR chemical experiments only that we press a button and the chemical is poured into the beaker, and then we press another button and then the beaker is on the tripod stand and is over the burner. But that is something which we really see as a cartoon thing, because what we do in chemistry lab, like, these are sets. Okay, the one which we feed into like AR VR, we are feeding like, okay, for this titration there will be reading of, let's take an example. For a titration, this will be reading of 10. So even if we do in AR VR, it will always give reading of 10. But when we go in chemistry lab offline, there might be error or some error or some really a thing which book might say something else, but in reality the things would have changes because of temperature changes. Earlier when books were written, they were like 10 to 15 years back, so temperature change was also a thing. Like, earlier temperature used to be less, and now the temperature is high, so we see even small, even 1 degree temperature changes, it changes the whole value of the experiment. So if we feed the values into AR VR and we are using the same values again and again, it will, I feel, is a problem.
No, absolutely. There's no question about it. And I feel chemistry is best done offline. But this is about, chemistry being accessible to people, and chemistry being accessible to everyone. The difficulty which you mentioned, Maki, there are only two main colleges which have, accessibility to chemistry in your area. So I feel if that is taken care of, let's say I just have a vision wherein if people who really want chemistry, you could do the basic practicals with AR, VR, which will help promote chemistry and do the basics. And then you have a lab course for, let's say, 1 week wherein students come there and, do these actual experiments. And there they have their own innovation. And as you said, the real world scenario comes into play during that point in time. So just making chemistry more accessible, nothing else, I feel. An effort to do that.
Actually, Karthik, the two colleges which I mentioned, they are integrating AI and coding and chemical together. Those are only two colleges. Otherwise, chemistry lab is in every school, every college.
Oh no, yeah, I'm also talking
Whether
about a smart chemistry, smart AR VR assistant. Not like, as you mentioned the right thing, but it was, I feel, a little, at that point it was like a substitute that was acting with rudimentarily. But I envision a more sophisticated thing, as you said, wherein AI is also coming into the picture. So maybe something like that. Just an idea, I think. Just maybe a vision, thought to ponder.
maybe that may be a future.
Okay, Prakhar, you can ask your question.
Yeah, hello, good evening. So, I was just wondering the conversation between Karthik and Akshita, it intrigued a question into my mind. I was doing BSc Physics in Delhi University a few years ago, and there, what we studied that the cosmological events, they can be recreated in the on the softwares. Okay, say for example, the movement of asteroid. Okay, this is a very cliche example for this situation, that we can track the asteroid's movement. Okay, we just need two three parameters, the size and the velocity in the direction, and we put in these two three positions, and we can these two three values, and we can get the entire trajectory, entire life cycle of that asteroid. Okay, we can predict almost everything. Okay, we just need Newton's equations and a few algorithms to calculate it. Okay, so now I'm just wondering, when Akshita just said that the labs cannot be replaced. I'm wondering that is it possible that you said that when you put the you press the button and the beakers were pouring the solutions and all those things. Is it even possible that one day we can replace the lab work altogether? Okay, maybe not the entire lab work, but some small things that we can practice. Okay, say for example that we have a solution here. Okay, it is a solution that we have here, and then we are testing it on certain elements or certain metals or something, and we just plug in the numbers and we get the result. Is it at all possible, or is it something happening like that? My question
I
is.
prefer, yeah, it's clear. So I also mentioned there's a temperature thing. If you feed in, like, okay, you can do it, but then there is no human involvement. You have to just put the values and just give a result like a report. But if you have to work as a lab assistant, you will need to work with chemicals, understand their smell, understand their feel, what possible reactions that or hazardous things they could. That will not be. I don't feel they'll be really fed into computer. For example, if some, for example, I take about. I don't exactly remember the chemical name, but there is a chemical. If we inhale that, we get a strong cough for 2 3 days. So if we feed the chemical in that AR VR you are saying, we cannot know if there is really some of the reaction that is happening with humans. Because if we then test it in a big lab, then that might be hazardous.
Yeah, so we cannot recreate those situations on software. That is what I am asking.
But first we need to do the experiments बिल्कुल मतलब I mean we need to do the experiments full with precision. Then we can feed it in the computer. But that is basically we can do with ChatGPT also. Everything is available there also.
No, I am not asking about uh, the regular stuff that is available in the textbook. Okay, I am asking about prediction stuff. Okay, just the example that I give, predicting the trajectory of an asteroid. Okay, that if there is a new asteroid or if there is a new star whose calculation we want to do, that we use telescopes, we gather that information, and then there are softwares that predict all those things. Okay, and for one reason it is easier in physics because the laws of physics are universal. All right, so the better the calculations that we have, the better the prediction we will get. Okay, so this thing that this might be a little difficult in chemistry, given that there is no universal law governing everything in chemistry. So I'm just wondering if at all it makes sense that we are working on two separate chemicals or some compounds or something. Okay, and based on the properties of the different functional groups attached to it. Okay, and all the previous data that we have, that if it is an aromatic compound, then this will happen, and if it is a carboxylic group or an ester group, then this will happen, and if it is a combination of this, then this third property exhibits. So if all those parameters are fed into the system, and then the experiment is run on something new, okay, or maybe new compound whose data is not available on the AIs as of now. Okay, because AI, they are mainly used to fetch the data from the web. Okay, so will that sort of something is happening in the chemistry world?
Yes, definitely it will happen. That's what I have presented today, that we can bridge these two worlds together and we can experiment on the third, like you mentioned, on the third molecule, which will be 10 times faster than we do as a manual power.
Yes, exactly, this is what I want, this is what I was thinking about. If the reaction has to be heated, for few reactions they need a good enough amount of activation energy and all those things, right? So that needs heating and resources and time. So that things can be totally removed, or maybe that can be get away with if we used softwares to do to work with the experiments. So this is the idea behind asking the question.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much. Really like this entire presentation. Great work.
Thank you so much, Prakhar.
Ratish, you can ask your question.
Sure. Good evening. So Akshita, this I think it is a consecutive question only. So, according to you, as you are working on the convergence of AI and chemistry, over a few decades or so, would you think that AI fully replace laboratory experiments, or it can be acting as a supporting tool only?
I feel it should act as a supporting tool only. Human, I feel human in the loop will be a better concept to execute because uh, because we are making things for humans only. Sorry, one second, please. Hi, sorry, Ritesh. So I was saying we are making tools for humans only. So if we mix out some chemicals uh, and molecules and we found out later that people are allergic to it, so that will be a big flop show using AI and doing things like that. So I feel there is human in the loop would be a better concept.
Sure. So that's also feeling highly significant to current research needs. And one question: how do you validate AI experiments in chemistry experimentally? Do you have any techniques or tools sort of thing for that?
Currently, there is nothing like that. We are just exploring it.
All right. Nice presentation.
Thank you so much, Ritesh.
There's a question in the chat. It says, in physics, we have a special type of neural network called PINN, which are used for solving highly complex differential equations. Does something similar exist in the chemistry realm as well? In other words, is there any universal complex procedure which one goes through in majority of chemistry experiments, which is being automated by neural networks?
Hi Abhiram, there is a concept, but I'm not really, I have not explored that. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you so much, Abhiram, for your question. So now, okay, thank you so much, Akshita. And now we'll shift to the second part of the session, that is something that we all interact with daily, that is media. So next we have Abheek Soni, who will be speaking about the use of AI generated content in modern media.
Hello there. Am I visible and audible? Okay, so I'll start with a brief introduction of myself. Myself, Abheek Soni, currently pursuing 2 degrees at once, one from SSI PMT Raipur in BTech Mechanical Engineering, and second, Data Science and Applications from IIT Madras. So, my today's topic is use of AI generated content in modern media. So we use media every day. And what do I mean by media? There are just so many types of media. There is social media, the news that we usually just refer as media, and then we have TV shows, movies, everything. Let me start with my presentation. Okay, is the presentation visible? All right. So AI in media. AI wasn't that popular 5 to 6 years ago. It's only um, since 2021 and 2022 that AI has become so popular, and we use AI every day. Maybe not all of us, but most of us use large language models like ChatGPT to ask trivial questions like a recipe or small questions such as if you're in a lecture and you discover a new word, the norm would have been to Google the word, but now it has shifted to asking AI about said word. So also in the last few years from 2022 we have seen a huge influx, a huge new appearances in AI images and video generations with Sora AI from OpenAI and Gemini from Google. And I think Midjourney is no longer as famous as it once was. But right now, we I think most of us have used some form of generative AI. I think most notably, we have definitely used Gemini for the nano banana trend where everyone was converting their regular pictures into some special, very stylized pictures. So, why do we use AI? And we are starting to see a lot of companies, huge companies use AI generated images and videos. So, why is that? It's simply because AI promises faster, cheaper content creation across film, news, any genre actually, and it offers unparalleled efficiency and scale. That is simply because we can understand it using an example. Let's say there is a brand, Coca Cola. I think we all have heard of Coca Cola or probably have drank it at some point in our life. If they want to make an ad that shows a truck, a truck is going across the road, it is stops, and someone is distributing Coca Cola for free to everyone on Christmas. They have to plan so much. They have to hire actors, directors, sound mixers, slide guy, a driver. They need to get a truck. They need a section of a road on which they can shoot safely. They have to hire editors, and so many people need to get involved. Every person has to get paid. It takes time, money. But if we shift to AI, all the company has to do is to enter a few sentences into an AI model, get an output, and tweak the AI output by entering some more sentences, and that's it. They can save thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars by using AI instead of real actors and stuff. Best example is Coca-Cola because in Christmas of 2024 or maybe 25, I don't remember exactly, they made an AI generated commercial which was 100% AI generated. The entire video, the audio, the text, everything was AI generated, and this had caused a huge controversy regarding AI replacing human actors. So the pitfall, what do I mean by pitfall? As you can see, there's a section that's titled The Pitfall. AI falls short on the promise of quality. AI is fast, it is cheap, if not free for the most part, and it is efficient. All I have to do is enter a few sentences and I can generate a video of 10, 20, 30, however long. However, cheap things don't equal good quality. Obviously AI is cheap, it is fast, but it can never deliver good quality simply because a generative AI model usually works like this. It takes something from source A, it takes something for source B, it smashes them together and produces a result. If the source A and source B are either irrelevant or are of bad quality, the result itself is obviously going to be of bad quality. We'll see a few examples as we move ahead. So AI generated content, especially the short form content, on YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, have seen a huge increase in the last few years.
Abheek, you're not visible or audible.
Can you hear me? I think
Your voice is breaking a little bit.
Okay, that may be a problem because yeah, the lights are out.
But your voice is fine now, I think.
I think I might turn my video off. Oh, is it fine? My face is completely dark, so I might keep the camera off. So should I continue?
Yeah, yeah, please.
All right. So we have seen AI content on YouTube Short. I'm sure everyone uses YouTube at least half an hour every day. In the last few years, YouTube has seen a dramatic increase in AI-generated content, and I think the most part of it is that it is so easy to make videos and publish at least 10 videos every day.
Abhi, your voice
And
is
many
breaking a
the
lot.
primary consumers. Okay, I guess we might need to wait for the lights to come back.
Sorry guys, we have to wait for some minutes because there is some technical issues from his side.
Okay, I think I'm back. Am I audible and is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, I'm extremely sorry for this inconvenience.
No worries, no worries.
Okay, so I'll continue where I left off. I was talking about YouTube Shorts and AI content. It is very easy to just pump hundreds of these AI content every month, and the primary consumers of this content are children. And studies have shown that when children watch AI content like this, which is very highly stimulating, there are lots of colors, lots of movement. It actually stunts their brain development. And on YouTube, there are millions and millions of YouTube shorts that are completely AI generated. Those are pulling in billions of views, and with that, millions of dollars. So that's a huge problem, and we have to raise a question here: should we allow that? And if not, then how do we stop it? How do we make sure that content that is potentially harmful or has no effort into it or has no human element, how do we stop that from going on to platforms and exploiting younger audiences? That's a question that has to be raised. So, moving on to games, I think many of us have played the game Call of Duty. It's an incredibly famous video game series. It has been before I was even born, and I have played many of Call of Duty games, one of my favorite games. This screenshot is from Call of Duty Black Ops 7. On the top right, you may see two posters, and if anyone watches anime, they can instantly recognize that art style. That is the copied art style of Ghibli Studios. Ghibli Studios is a very famous anime studio from Japan. I think in 2024 it was a huge trend. The Ghibli, I don't remember the exact hashtag of the trend, but people were using Gemini and other AI models to turn their images into Ghibli art. And the I think the main artist, I don't remember his exact designation, but he was rightfully mad that people were copying his style using AI because Ghibli takes their art very seriously. It takes months and years to make something look that good, and AI can just pump out garbage that copies their art in just a few minutes. And this game was developed by Activision Blizzard, which is multi-billion-dollar video game company, and they are using AI generated arts. That is also raising a huge question about, is AI actually replacing artists now? A few years ago, my answer would have been AI cannot, because AI art doesn't look human. But now we can literally see that AI, at least in this example, has actually replaced a human artist. This is a screenshot from the teaser of the movie, of the upcoming movie Chiranjeevi Hanuman. From this uh, screenshot, I think we can conclude that the art style looks like a painting. I'd say that's an oil painting. This is the second shot from the same teaser. Now the art style has completely changed. This looks like it is pencil color art or a different style of oil paint. Moving on to the third frame, now this looks like a scene that is pretty realistic. I'd say that's from a regular movie. But all the three frames that you saw were completely AI generated. This entire movie is AI generated, probably by just one person. And I think that this this kind of raises a psychological question, because is this an actual movie if humans didn't make it? There are no actors involved, there is no director, there's only just one producer who has been credited as a producer, and literally no other cast behind this movie. So is it a movie, or is it just an hour long or 2 hour long AI generated video? That's another question. So this is a visual disaster. I personally feel that the teaser is like spitting in our face, because if someone is calling that movie, that person should not be allowed to watch movies at all, because the shots look so different from each other. We all saw the three frames, they look so different from each other that you can't even tell that they are from the same teaser, let alone same movie. This is a short incident that happened on Twitter. There was a person whose Twitter handle was Oscar AI. He called himself AI director or AI creator. All he did was type few prompts into Grok AI and produce art. And he got mad when someone used a similar prompt which generated an art that looked similar to his art. So he called out the person who copied his style, and then people started replying to him, and he was bullied so hard on Twitter that he had to delete his account. So there's a huge number of fake experts and AI generated media fakery. A lot of AI YouTube channels, social media accounts are posing as doctors and other field experts, and they are giving away just ridiculous and false information. Ethical and human cost of unregulated AI content. So I'll go into more detail later, but this raises another huge question: is how do we regulate AI content? Because generative AI is like a tool. It's like this pencil. It's up to me on how I use it. I can use this pencil to write something. I can use it to draw something, but I can also use it to kill someone with. So how does the government or any organization prevent me from doing that? They cannot stop me from buying a pencil. It's my right to have a pencil, but how can they step in between of me owning the pencil and using it to kill someone? That's a major issue with AI right now, because the AI technology is so new. There aren't really any safeguards, and we'll see a huge problem this lack of safeguard caused in the upcoming slides. With Grok AI, I think most of us are familiar with Grok AI. It is Elon Musk's AI, which is featured on his platform Twitter, or now X. So the second latest model, or maybe the latest model of Grok AI, allowed users to take pictures of people, most specifically women, and remove their clothes from those pictures. So basically, users of the Grok AI were using the AI to generate sexualized images of people, specifically women. The worst part about it is that majority of the people who were victim to this sexualization were children. Grok AI, the X platform, had a huge influx of child pornography that was developed using Grok AI. And worst part about this incident is that instead of implementing some safeguards, some rules or anything to stop it, what X did is to lock the AI generative features of Grok AI behind a paywall. That is honestly ridiculous if you think about it. The Scarlett Johansson incident, basically in September 2023, Scarlett Johansson was approached by a company. The company wanted to clone her voice to make an AI voice that sounded like her voice so they can use it in commercials and other things, but she obviously refused. But on May 2024, she came across some videos or audio that it sounded exactly like her, as if they were generated using an AI voice of her, which she had not authorized. So she had hired lawyers, but no lawsuit was ever filed. So this wasn't that huge of an incident, but this again raises a question of, should AI be allowed to copy other people? AI is able to, uh, I think, 90% replicate a human. I think we have all seen the Will Smith eating pasta or spaghetti videos, and in the more newer videos, it's very difficult to tell that the video that you're watching is AI. So how do we stop it? How do we stop AI from uh, copying people, reproducing people's identity without their consent? And can this replace actors in the near future? So I'll talk a little bit about why AI generated content looks bad in films. So the first is human expression. Human expression is ridiculously hard to get. The image that you see is from the movie Justice League. That is Superman, played by the actor Henry Cavill. Funny thing is that when Henry Cavill was shooting for this movie, he had a mustache because he was also shooting from Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible had Henry Cavill contractually obligated so that he cannot shave. He couldn't shave his mustache. So when shooting for Justice League, he had a mustache, but the character of Superman did not have a mustache. So the movie's CGI department has had to remove his mustache digitally, and I think you can see how ridiculous it looks. It in the movie, it looked like he had stuffed cotton balls instead of his lips. So, if a company, the Warner Brothers produced this movie, so if a company that has billions of dollars behind them, they are spending hundreds and millions of dollars in a movie, they have thousands of VFX artists. If they are unable to replicate a human facial expression properly, how can an AI do that? Modern AI looks realistic if it's generating an image, a still image, but as soon as you translate that image into video, it just becomes absolutely ridiculous. Second is natural movement. Of course, AI isn't creating something new. AI doesn't understand what it's creating. AI is just taking a few things, mixing them together, and trying to produce an output. So, of course, anything that is human, that is human expression and natural movement, will look artificial because it is generated by artificial intelligence. And the last is artistic nuance. If you have watched any Wes Anderson movie, you know how artistic his movies are. They are very colorful. He has a very specific format of directing, and obviously, AI can never replicate that. AI can only copy that. Moving on to balancing innovation with responsibility. In the last few years, the AI space has got so many different innovations. The text models have gotten significantly better, the image generation, the video generation, even the audio, sound, and music generation. AI models have gotten significantly better than they ever were before. But that raises another huge question, and is how do we use those AI models, those AI tools responsibly? Because even on Spotify, there are so many AI accounts that are making music and uploading it on Spotify, and they are making money through it. And a human is not making that music; they are just typing some sentences, and a machine is making that music, and the human is just benefiting off of that machine. So, should we allow that? And if not, then how do we stop it? How do we make sure that all use of AI is responsible and accepted? So this is an example of the innovation. The image on the left is from 2022. If you typed generate a video of Will Smith eating pasta in OpenAI's Sora video generation model, the result on the left is what you would get in 2022. On the right, you can see how good the AI generation model has become in 2025. And it's only going to get better. How do we stop AI from stealing identity? Because this is not Will Smith. This is just an AI generated video of Will Smith. So Will Smith didn't approve this. I can generate a video of any celebrity I want. How can the celebrities make sure that people cannot make a video of them using AI? And similarly, anyone can make a video of me if they get enough pictures. Okay, this session alone is enough for AI to get an idea of my voice and my facial features, and it can now replicate my video. How do I stop that? How should I stop that? Should people be allowed to do this? Again, these are a lot of psychological questions. Uh, this is the second last slide of my presentation for today. So I'd like to ask you guys, how many of you think either of these images is AI generated? Are there any people who think that either one of these images are is AI generated?
Honestly, all of them look AI generated.
Okay, I got one response. Does anyone else think that any of the images are AI generated?
This might be digital art too.
Okay. Alright, so if you say that it looks like AI, why would you say it looks like AI?
Because of the strokes, it looks too perfect in some of them that it looks very unnatural, in
All
my
right,
opinion.
I tricked you guys. All three of those arts are real. I made those myself, so all three of those arts are real.
Oh, wow. They look pretty
But
perfect. That's why.
uh, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. So this is this. I think this should highlight how much AI has been integrated into our life. When even when we see real pictures, real art of anything, we have to think: is it AI? And we are trying to find features that can tell that an image is AI generated. And yes, one of the telltale signs of AI is perfection. That is, it's too perfect. One telltale sign that this is made by a human is that if you look at the very right image on the very right, you'll see I had cropped out the hands because I don't know how to draw hands. All right, concluding the path forward, the first is urgent need of action. Obviously, with AI getting so advanced and being able to generate any image, any text, and any video, we need some safeguards. We need rules. We need to constrain. We need to restrict the AI to make sure that it is not allowing people to generate illegal content or problematic content. Secondly, is the responsible AI adoption. We have to adopt AI in a way that we are using it in a responsible ways. I mean, if I am asked to write an research article for Razor, I can just go to AI and type some prompts, get an output, and then submit it. That's obviously not responsible, but there's nothing stopping me from doing it. We need something that can guide people on responsible ways of using AI and stop them from using AI to generate either illegal content or doing things they shouldn't do. So, with that, I'd like to end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abheek. You've given us a lot to think about, especially around creativity, ethics, and what future of media might look like. So, what stood out for me most is that AI isn't just a background tool anymore. It's actively shaping the way stories are created, shared, and even consumed. So, as you told us, shared with us that how misinformation spreads really easily these days, especially through WhatsApp groups and Facebook. So, you know that some people can replicate your voices to make it to scam you and make it sound like they are your daughters to get some money out of you. So, how do you think people can protect themselves from these kind of scams?
That's the thing. That is the main problem. There are no ways to protect yourself because if okay, this boils down to each person's intellect. Because if someone sends an AI generated video of me crying or being in a problematic situation to my father, I think my father has the intellect to detect or deduce that the video may be fake. But if the video is really, really convincing, which AI is getting to the point where it will be indistinguishable if a video is real or AI. But so if AI gets to that point, we will have no way to protect ourselves from it.
And especially in creative fields such as films and music, do you still think that it would become so uh, difficult to differentiate between music that is AI generated and music that is generated by humans?
Absolutely. If you asked me this question 2 to 3 years ago, I'd say no, AI art will or AI music will never feel like human. But I have changed my opinion on that because AI is developing at a unprecedented rate, and it has been getting better and better and better at recreating something in a way that is human. That goes the same for art, music, image, video, everything. So yes, I believe in the next 5 years or even under 5 years, AI generated content will be indistinguishable from human generated content.
Do you also think it's partly beneficial to some people because some people make shorts and reels through and make AI mimic their voices to make content?
That is a very subjective questions because I am a creator myself, and if let's say I am uploading videos on YouTube in the language English and I don't know how to speak Hindi, Tamil, and Telugu, if AI allows me to use my own voice, clone my voice, and then make audio in Tamil, Telugu, and other languages, that is beneficial for me. That is, I think, a good and responsible way of using AI. But on the flip side, the same tool, the same technology, and the same process can be used for malicious purpose. Nothing is stopping a third person from replicating, cloning my voice, and using it for malicious purposes.
So you think that there should be some kind of regulation, like there is some regulation right now, but do you think by after this presentation that that would be sufficient enough?
So, are there any regulations right now? Absolutely not. You can go to 11 Labs, clone your voice, clone. I can literally clone your voice and make that voice record any message and send it to anyone. I think you can see how dangerous this is for you, for me, for everyone. This is a huge public risk. And are there any safeguards currently? No, but that's the problem. It's very difficult to implement safeguards when it comes to AI generated content. And so, what was your second question?
No, I think that was all.
Okay,
So
okay.
I'd like to open the floor for questions. If anyone has any doubts or any disagreements, even you can ask.
No one's asking questions, so I'll either take it as I was so good that I blew everyone's mind, or that everyone is asleep right now.
Is there nobody? Okay, there is one. Um, o- okay, this is not a question. Okay. If nobody has any more questions, then I think we can conclude this meeting. Okay. Thank you so much, Abheek, for your presentation. It was really amazing to hear different perspectives.
I think some
And
people are raising hands. Or is it just, are they emojis or is that a hand raise?
no, no, that's an emoji
Oh,
reaction.
okay, my bad.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Abheek. And thank you to both of the speakers, Akshita and Abheek, for such unique perspectives and such great presentations. And also, thank you for joining everyone. We'd love to see you in our next session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Abheek. Thank you, everyone.
Aditi, you can stop the recording, right?